Morning. Hello, one and all. It's good to have you here this morning. It's my duty, my job is, so to speak, this morning to introduce ourselves to the celebration of the morning. My name is More Important. I'm the minister of Woodland Chapel here, and we have just a joyful time planned for you this morning. Julie's going to give us a lovely talk, and our music team has already impressed you with their presence. We have a few announcements. The first is there anyone here for the first time? Hey, it's good to see you here. We love having you here, and also Emma for the first time, and yes, and Michelle. So anyway, you're all very, very welcome. We have a packet of information that we'll give you. If you'd like to fill out a card while you're here, it gives us your name and phone number and so forth, so we can keep in touch. I think an email on it too. That'd be really, really sweet. Be sure to join us for the potluck, everyone. Even if you didn't bring something, there's quite a bit of good chicken down there and other foods, a pork roast, and yeah, some lovely, lovely food. We're starting something new here at Woodland Chapel. It's called LIT. We're getting lit up. What is the person usually, when someone's lit, what do you think of? But it's living intentionally. Living intentionally today, LIT. It's time to get lit up. Living intentionally is the name of the group discussion, and we're starting on Wednesday evenings. And October seems the perfect time to do such. It will be not this Wednesday, but the following Wednesday. Oh, is it this Wednesday? Oh my God. Oh, all right. Well, I stand corrected. And it's going Wednesday, October 8th. That's right. I thought it was okay. From 7 to 8:30 in the chapel, and it'll be. Who's going to be up here? Yeah, upstairs in the library. Yeah, I think in the library. Kathy, do you have anything else you'd like to announce about it? Kathy's the instigator.
Well, this is just something we've been talking about for a while. There's been interest in having a group get together and discuss things. And so we're just talking about it. We're actually going to do it. And people are welcome to come, sit in a circle. And it's a chance for us to individually take a look at time and talk about whatever challenges are the most in your mind. And to talk about how we can apply our spiritual beliefs to those issues going on and apply this teaching in our everyday life. So I think there's a real need for that, so we can forget after we leave here sometimes
How can we
how to do
forget?
that. And so it'll be a reminder of how we can each do that individually. So I'm excited about this. I'm looking forward to it. Everybody's invited. It is Wednesday from 7 to 8:30, so come check us out.
All right, come and get lit up. There's a class that will be starting the following Tuesday, the 14th of October. It's called the Essential Ernest Holmes, and it is ideal for both beginners and for experienced people, who would experience more of Ernest's teachings and really understand the concepts and philosophies that we teach here at Woodland Chapel to help make your life better. Soup for the Soul fundraiser, October 19th. Sign up in the kitchen or the library. Oh, there are sign-up sheets for the class in the library too. Watch for future events here at the chapel. As you know, childcare is available downstairs. We have confidential prayer request forms in the pews. If you'd like to fill one out and put it in the offering plate or in the library box marked prayer requests. If you feel moved to serve here at Woodland Chapel, we welcome volunteers. Just speak with Cheryl Gass, our practitioner and ministry team office manager, or if you talk to one of our ministers. We always have places for volunteers. Speaking of which, I think Cheryl wants to make a special announcement.
I just feel like I'm stealing Cheryl O's thunder here, but I just wanted to announce that the security system is completely installed now. Cameras, electrical, everything. So, and it was really, so many people helped to make this happen, and thank you to all of you. And say a special thanks to Cheryl, because she really, really drove this a lot. Thank you.
Well, I think it's time for us to sing a song. Congregational song, if you'd like to stand and sing. Now we'll have a musical invitation to prayer.
May the winds of the sun
Let's go within. Let's go within where that power that is the essence of who we are resides. That we are spiritual beings here to express God in every moment, in every way, in every action. That we are ready now to open our hearts and our minds to the message that comes today, knowing that a little glimmer of truth or a golden nugget will jump out, and it will something that will resonate within your hearts. And knowing this, I am just so grateful for everyone present today, those in the audience and those that are online, knowing that we are reaching out and we're touching people every day, that we are full of abundance and joy, and it shows in our actions and it shows in our words. So knowing this, I am just ready to release my word to the law, knowing that everything is unfolding in perfect divine right order, and that we are present, fully, wholly present. So please join me now in saying, and so it is. I'd like to share with you the group affirmation for today. It's in blue in your program. I've never separated my good. All that's really lacking is my awareness. And so it is.
Good morning, all.
Good morning.
Well, the title of today's reading is Where You Are Meant to Be. And I think she just talked about that. It goes like this. It starts out with a quote from the Sufi wise man Khalil Gibran, who said, "Your reason and your passion are the rudder and the sails of your seafaring soul." And today's writer says, what do you want to be when you grow up? We have all been rehearsing the answer to that question since we were young. And even now we can feel pressured by it, assuming the answer should be clear. Perhaps you ask the same questions I ask myself. Is our purpose a career, a calling, or a way of living? Do we have one purpose or many? Does our purpose change throughout our life? Is there both personal purpose and universal purpose? After graduating from nursery school, she says, I began performing as a jazz pianist in nightclubs, and 20 years went by. Since then, I wandered through a menagerie of careers. Maybe some of you can identify with that. Following exactly where my heart led me. I have never regretted a moment of it. Every day held meaningful and joyful moments. We are not our titles, our jobs, or our salaries. We are so much more than that. We are infinite possibility. When we follow the authentic yearnings of the heart, what Ernest Holmes calls the divine urge, we can't miss our purpose. When a door closes, another door is meant to open. Believe, pray, pay attention, strive to be the absolute best version of yourself, and life will unfold as it should. A future goal is not your life. The path is your life. What you do today is your life. Create a life that brings you moments of meaning and joy, and the path will lead you exactly where you are meant to be. And of course, we have an affirmation for this morning, and it is this. As I follow the authentic yearnings of my heart, I find the way home to my true path and purpose.
Please join me in welcoming our speaker today, Reverend Julie Applegate. I'm sure her message is going to tell us just where we belong. I think that's a part of it. Yahoo!
Well, we are together, like where we belong. I'm glad we belong here this morning. So thank you, musicians. Thank you all for being here this morning. Because I was just sitting there thinking how I love church. I have been going to church since I was a tiny little girl. No one forced me, and yeah, except that no one helps me with my papers. Bear with me just a minute. Yeah, I've been going to church since I was a little girl, like a way little girl, and I always loved it. I went on my own. No one forced me. Well, my grandmother started going with me when I was like 5, and we were spending the winter in Arizona, and we went to this Methodist church. And somehow on the way home, I got very displeased and laid down in the middle of the road and threw a tantrum. And that was the last time my grandmother went to church with me. So I was required to go by myself from then on. So anyway, I don't do that anymore. But I don't think.
Can you show us?
I don't know. And so anyway, today, yeah, we're talking about all you ever want to know is right where we are. All we need, all we want is right where we are. Do you believe that? Yeah. If you've been in this teaching a while, you're going to believe that. But do you believe it? Is always our question. And, the one thing I am so grateful for is that I found this teaching. New Thoughts, and we're part of an umbrella organization called New Thought, which I think was best expressed through Ernest Holmes. He expressed it so well and coherently. And it's a philosophy, and it's a science, and it's the best of spirituality, and it is more. And we don't have to believe in fantastical things. We have to trust that there is an inner wisdom placed in us by that which created us, and it is going to guide us in the right way. So, and this presence, you guys, this presence is a presence of love. And what is so cool, I focus on the law a lot because I'm always wanting something, and I'm always praying for somebody, and whose head shakes, want. I think I told you last week, my son calls me the want machine. But, so I really work through the law a lot because this presence of love, we couldn't love if love didn't exist. And it works through the law of its own being. And so, for most of us, it seems like what we want is out there, right? It's something, a house, a car, something new. It's out there. And so for me, when I learned that everything is in here, I'll tell you what it did. It took a lot of pressure off. Have you thought about it that way? Because if we have to think about, I got to go out there and get that, it's a lot of effort. And to know that everything that we want and need is already exists, and it exists in us. Eric Butterworth put it this way, that when we get ourselves centered in the universal flow, we become synchronized with the divine bias for good. And the poet Tagore put it this way, the same stream of life that runs through my veins, night and day, runs through the world and dances in rhythmic measures. It is all in us. And how how can we really know that? See, when I got into New Thought, I wanted to know, I wanted it to make sense to me. I wanted it to be logical. So my question is, how can we know that? And so I think I got this from Deepak Chopra, because I've been listening to Deepak Chopra lately. He has a cool book called Abundance. It's very short, and it is so deep. It is, I think, one of my favorite ones of his books. So I got it at the library, and Abundance, and it is so deep and wonderful. You guys, I recommend getting that. How he explains that. But the presence of mathematical and geometric patterns is a fundamental organizing principle found across the natural world. Okay, what does that have to do with us? We are part of nature, are we not? We are part of this living world. So there's a pattern in us. And I really got this when I learned about the Enneagram. Have any of you ever studied the Enneagram in here? Yeah. It's a personality. It takes the 9 personality types and not only shows us the box we're in, but how to get out of that box. So when I learned a lot about different personality types at work and all sorts of things, they want us to learn these things. And they were like, okay, that makes sense. But the Enneagram, I'm everything. And it was like, wow. That each one of us has a pattern in us. And one of the things about recognizing that is not only about how to express that pattern in this world, but we can see the other's pattern, which is different than us, and begin to understand that. See, that pattern, I think, is a little bit like the stained glass window. We are born with a pattern, a DNA. And when we get in that flow that Eric Butterworth talks about, it shines right through us, and our pattern can be a light in this world, and our purpose can be revealed in so many incredible ways. But the other thing about the Enneagram and discovering other people's personalities is you really begin to understand, well, they're just not trying to annoy me. What is wrong with that person? And it worked so well with, I began to understand my husband. And I could see where he needed to change. No, seriously, don't we do that? I mean, they say right in the beginning, only focus on yourself. Is that possible? I mean, I get reading, every time I tell my husband, I said, well, that's who you are. Of course you're behaving like that. And he says, well, what about yours? And I thought, well, mine is really cool. My personality type is so cool. So, yeah, there is that tendency. But to be able to see and understand another person and to see this pattern, this beautiful pattern about how the universe works. Plato called it forms. There's a form in the infinite, and it expresses us in our physical body, and it is so cool, you guys. And when we let go of other things and allow that light to shine through us, there is nothing but beauty in our life, and everything we need shows up and is drawn to us, is attracted to us. So, and I have planted this English garden. I talk a lot about my garden. I use it as it's one of my go-to metaphors. And so each plant, when I planted it, it grew into what it was meant to be. There was a pattern in that seed. And when it was planted and nourished, it grew into that flower, that beautiful flower, exactly what I expected. And I have, I was thinking, and oh yeah, when each of us are there, it all works in such synchronicity. And nature works that way. And the trouble with us humans is that we get in the way of that. But there's a perfect pattern in nature if we cooperate with it. I was thinking about my peony. I have this peony, and it's really gorgeous. It is the most beautiful peony. But then it only blooms in the spring, and I was thinking, does it feel bad because it doesn't bloom all summer long like the marigold? So one of the things that we do that gets in our way is we begin to compare and despair, isn't it? Compare and despair. Actually, I don't know what the peony thinks or feels, but I just imagine that. And so this idea of good being outside of ourselves, where do we get these ideas? Okay. We begin to think. And at the bottom of everything, because I did ministry for 30 years and did a lot of counseling in that, I began to recognize the pattern, and you guys know this, we've talked about it before, that this word enough, that there's enough for all of us, and there's enough in the universe, and it's an amazing universe. I mean, most of us don't get to see the stars because we have all this artificial light. But I have a little place where I go and it's completely dark, and it's like, how can all of that be? And there's universes and everything up there. There's a multitude of everything and everything we need. You know, I don't know how many fruit trees I have on our place, but right now there's apples and pears and all this stuff all over the ground. And you guys, I have so much zucchini. Anybody wants some, just raise their hand. I was talking to my daughter on the way here. She said, "Mom, did you use up all this?" She really nags. And she, "Did you use up all this zucchini?" I said, "Are you kidding? I've been so busy. So if anybody you in here wants zucchini, it would help me out. Just tell me afterwards." But there's so much abundance in the universe. And yet people are starving. I mean, and things are falling on the ground and wasting. It's an odd thing about human beings. Because we take that word enough and then we add not. Not enough. There's not enough. And we begin to believe that. I am not. And the main thing that is the problem is I am not enough. Because remember, everything starts in here. And we get these childhood messages, don't we? One of times our church met in Episcopal Church. We shared space with the Episcopal Church. And we had a Sunday school, and so we used their Sunday school rooms. And I went down there, and I was like, oh, this is so cute. They have all these little animals, the story of Noah. Y'all know the story of Noah? Yeah. And every kid grows up with the story of Noah and all these cute little animals, and it couldn't be a better kid's story. You got this boat and all this stuff. Did you ever think about Noah? I mean, what is that story? God decides he's so annoyed with this human race that he created that he's wiping them all out but Noah. And so there's a subtle message there. So we get all these subtle messages. Ease up on ourselves, guys, because we're not just, especially when we get in these teaching and we realize we are wonderful and awesome, and it's our thoughts about ourselves that are creating our problems. You guys, they come from somewhere. And speaking of Noah, go back, and how many of you have gone to read the Old Testament regularly? Nobody? Okay, go home and read the story of Noah through to the end. Very interesting. And I wonder why God selected Noah. It's ugly. That's all I can tell you. But we get these subtle messages. And we don't, and we believe it about ourselves. And if everything we need is within us and we don't believe that there's much within us, what are we going to do? So here we are in New Thought, finding out something different. And I want to tell you a story. I want to tell you a story before I go on too long, because this subject really excites me and I can go on for a long time. Within us, we have everything that we can do. Do you guys believe that? In the reading today, it's the desire of our heart leads us to our purpose. And if we have a purpose, we're not given that so that it doesn't work. We're given that so that that divine life can live through us in a way that makes our life rich and enriches the whole. When our life is enriched and we're filled with love, believe me, there's an energy that goes out everywhere. So, how many of you believe that that desire in your heart for whatever it is, it could be a thing, a relationship, a healing, how many of you believe that that is actually possible? It is actually possible, you guys. Because why? Because we are one with that divine life, and when we get in the flow, it flows through us perfectly. That divine life, that infinite that we cannot define, but has created everything. And if it lives in us, why would it be limited in us? Only limited by our belief. So we come here every Sunday to hear that for the single purpose of changing our belief, so that all that is possible and potential within us can be released. So I'm going to tell you a story, to end this with a story. I live in Happy Valley off of Sunnyside Road. I always thought that was cute. I didn't need to tell you that, but I always liked that. And way before Happy Valley was Happy Valley, and it was just country, and there were little farms. And I still liked to garden then, but there weren't a million nurseries around like there are now. Something happened since we moved there, and it like exploded. But there was this one little nursery where the Clackamas Town Center is now, George's Garden. And I used to go to George's all the time, and I got to know George. And one day he was telling me his story. So he's from a Middle Eastern country, and I think it's Lebanon. Forgive me, George, if I got that wrong. But when he was 14, he decided he wanted something more. That this village that he lived in was not prosperous. And at certain times there were political things going on, creating chaos. And he, of course, had this idea of America. Back when America was the dream place that people wanted to go. And so he's 14 years old, he said. And so he left home to come to America. Now, when you're 14, you probably don't realize how everything works. You just don't go and get on a boat and come to America. He went to the major city in Lebanon, I think it was, and he got a job, and he found out, the United States actually wasn't accepting, at that time, up until 1965, if you were from those countries, you weren't probably going to get into the United States. So that was a problem. So he decided he had to go to a country where he could get into the United States. But of course he didn't have a passport. So all these things, he's this young kid, but he has this dream of coming to America, the land of opportunity. And so he told me the story. He went to Egypt because if you were in Egypt, you could get into America at that time. But he didn't have these passport and official documents. And I can't remember exactly how he managed to do it, but he got on the ship that was coming to America, and he worked on the ship. And so he's still a teenager when he lands in New York. And he works, and I do not remember how he got to Oregon from New York. But he did, of course. And I am just like awestruck because I love these stories. It was one of the reasons that I loved ministry. I love to see the possibilities in each one of us that we didn't realize it was there unfold and become just wonderful, wonderful experience. And that most of all, we discover who we are, because that is actually the key to the whole thing. And so George bought this little place in this rural place in Clackamas County. And in due time, the Clackamas Town Center mall was built, and all this was built up around there, and they bought out his nursery, which I think for a substantial profit. So he bought a little farm out in the Happy Valley, which wasn't Happy Valley yet. And he opened up another nursery. And in a few years along came Happy Valley, which I always look at like at the blob that keeps absorbing everything out there. And it absorbed his business to a huge, substantial profit. Now, I got to know his whole family and everything, but I love that story, because how many of us, okay, if we're 14, or we probably aren't going to set out on it anyway, but maybe we do. But look at all the obstacles. But the thing is, if we keep our vision in front of us, keep our vision in front of us, whatever it is, it's uncanny. And I've seen it happen in my life and other lives. The universe opens the way. And it may not be at all what we think it is, or how we imagined it. So when you go home today, I have a suggestion for us. To step out and just do one thing that's out of your comfort zone. One thing that you'd really like to do but is out of your comfort zone. And see where that goes. A lot of uncomfortable things that we might have to do, because life takes on many, many things. And we each have something that's out of our comfort zone. And so I would challenge you just for this week, and as we move through the rest of the month, focusing on prosperity. Because prosperity is good and of God. And as it's calling us to unfold, that means we have to go beyond where we are, right? Where we are is where we are. But to get to that other place of joy, that place of desire that is calling us, we have to be somewhere else. So find that this week and step into it and let me know what it is and how it worked. So let us come together. And just breathe deeply. Breath is so important, not just for keeping us alive, but for breath is spirit. So breathe deeply. And open yourself in some way. See yourself surrounded in light. See light flowing into your body. And with that light is the power and presence expressed. And it is also the intelligence and the wisdom and the knowledge. And as we breathe into that light and we see that surrounding us and in and through us, there is messages for us. We call them intuitions. But they're there when we pay attention. Everything that we need is already in us because we are that which is. Namaste.
So I just want to share one quick thing. I'm sorry. I came here this morning with a nervous energy, and I wasn't quite sure what it was. But these guys will tell you. I was just going through stuff, and then when we got into the congregational song, it just kind of melted away, and I realized that we're doing a song right now. That my music partner, Lorena Smith, and I had done. And it's called Be Here Now. And I thought it would be perfect. But I realized I haven't fully mourned the loss of her and pushed it aside and just moved on with life. And so I realized that that's what happened. And it's just interesting. And then I'm singing a song about, we're singing a song about together, where we all help each other in those moments. And, I believe it, if I believe that. And, so, anyway, blah, blah,
It's a
blah.
perfect song for our message today. Be here now.
Be here now.
you very much. It's a lovely song. It fit the theme of the day, Be Here Now. Yes, indeed. One of the things about being here now is we have an opportunity. We have received a wonderful message and beautiful music, and we will soon receive good food, which many of you brought. But we have the opportunity to give beyond giving the food we brought, to also give something of monetary value, namely a cash or a check. And there are little envelopes there in the pew. You can put your money in that, put your name on it, and you'll get credit for it at the end of the year. So whatever gift it is that you have for this chapel, whether it's large or small, it helps build the awareness, helps keep everything here available to you and to all the community at the classes, the prayer work, and the services. So let's just think about being part of the offering and reading our offertory affirmation together. It's in the program, and it starts with the word divine love. Are you ready? Divine love, moving in and through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God. We'll do offertory music now.
Gonna do what the Spirit says do. I'm gonna do what the Spirit says do. Do what the Spirit says do. I'm gonna do what the Spirit says do. I'm gonna sing what the Spirit says sing. I'm gonna sing what the Spirit says sing. And when the Spirit says sing, sing what the Spirit says sing. Love what the Spirit says love. Love what the Spirit says love. The Spirit says love. The Spirit says
We take this moment to touch our hearts with gratitude, to realize that the gratitude of living is a gift from the Spirit, as is life itself, as is everything in life. As we open ourselves to understand the interior dimensions of reality, we find the true source of abundance, the true source of love, and we just rejoice in this and give thanks. And we'd like to say together, and so it is. So if you'd like to stand, we'll have a closing prayer of protection. It's also in your program. Okay. Let's say it together. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. There was an announcement today of the news that there is a potential peace agreement in the Middle East involving Hamas and Gaza and Israel and all. Let us keep that in mind and hold an intention that there will be peace in the world as we join in singing, Let There Be Peace in the World. And join your hands.
with me.
start saying, I see.
Yeah.